settlement area, home to the Inuvik, which in other Indigenous people from throughout Canada, as well as people from throughout Canada and throughout the world, which all make Inuvik a great place to live. With that, we will move to the adoption of the agenda. Any, we don't need any motions at this point, but any additions? Deputy Mayor Bartlett?
I just noticed in the package for 11.1, is that it's in here or does the community plan? Or is that's not the next set of meetings, right?
That would be the next 7 minutes.
Sorry, we can strike that from the agenda. For Wednesday,
Okay,
11.1. As an info item.
so. Yeah,
For the set of meetings.
yeah. Great. Anything else? Any other questions, additions to the agenda? Okay. Thank you. Next, we have the declaration of conflict of interest or pecuniary interest with any of the agenda items. Seeing none, hearing none. Allegations, presentations, and petitions, and we have Jesse here from the RCMP to give the RCMP report. Welcome, Jesse.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Council. I'll make this very brief so you guys can get on with your good business. I would like to point out every May long weekend, it's Canada Road Safety Week. It's Chiefs of Police, Canadian Chiefs of Police Initiative. Police officers all across Canada go out. We actively enforce impaired driving laws, keep our roads safe, and you'll note here. Inuvik officers checked 101 vehicles over that weekend and not one impaired driver. Wow. So that's kudos to the community of Inuvik. Oftentimes me as a police officer, especially, I get caught up in, more impaired driving charges. We've got to keep that up, but I think this is a good sign just to show that enforcement over the past couple of years has worked. And, people in Inuvik are driving sober. So thank you to the community for helping keeping our roads safe. And I would like to mention, several of you already know, but this most likely be my last mayor's meeting. I'm transferring out of Inuvik next month. And I'd like to thank Mayor, Council, Town of Inuvik, everybody for the support over the last couple of years. It's been a great experience. I know for me personally, I think the detachment is very blessed to have so much support for the community. So just wanted to thank everybody for that and turn it over to you guys if you have any questions.
Thanks, Jesse. And yeah, we heard your news, and we're happy for you, the transfer, the new challenges, but we're also going to be sad to see you go. You've done a great job on getting the members out in the community, engaged in the community, and it's been great to get the reports. You do a great stuff that's going on, with the RCMP. So we hope that your replacement will be as eager and as engaged, and we look forward to meeting them. And are they transitioning into the position where you're still here?
Yes, luckily, we've been in lots of discussions, and there'll only be a few week gap between you leaving and that individual coming. And you all know Corporal Chris Main, he will act sort of in between that couple weeks. But there'll be lots of pass on. And I think one thing I've noticed over the past couple of years is not only the town, not only the government, but NGOs, community members alike. Everybody wants to work together to make Inuvik a bit safer and a bit better. And that will carry on. I know with the new person and only get better and stronger. So look forward to that. That person will have their own strengths and pick up and run with the ball as well. So.
Great questions from council on the RCMP report. Councilor Merrill.
Sorry to see you go. You've done a great job. A lot of the nonprofits you work with, and that has been a huge help in bringing things together. But we understand the journey.
Thank you.
Any further questions, comments? Being done, so Thanks again, Jesse, and we wish you good luck on your transfer, and I know it'll be a little bit different than Inuvik down there.
Yes, it will be, and maybe I'll be back in a few years, so, yeah, don't forget my name or what I look like.
So more than one straight line.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you
Thanks,
around.
Danny.
All right, good luck, man.
Thank you. I think we're good on public question period. And so the adoption of the minutes, 26, 28. Any changes needed in those minutes? Being none, you see anything before Wednesday, we can make those changes. Action items, anything new there, Cindy, that we need to update on?
I think just an update on the hot tub. And once we have this final report, it sounds like it is operational and they were awaiting the health inspector. Making sure that the chemicals there's a sufficient amount of chemicals, but now that the road's open, the chemicals should be arriving soon. And no other issues, Daniel? No, so after this meeting, we will take it off the action items list.
Okay, great. Any questions on any of the action items? All right, moving along to new business, request for council decision, the request for donation to the Great Northern Arts Festival. This is under 8.1. And this lays out various contributions that the town provides during the arts festival. Questions, comments? One question I had, I see for chairs at a daily rate. The math on a bunch of this stuff doesn't compute. The arts festival is what, a week long? This year?
Different parts of the MSC are rented for different periods of time. So I think the art festival itself is like 5 or 7 days,
Okay,
but some of the spaces are being rented for anywhere between 15
okay. Yeah, it just seems like $10,000 a day for chairs coming to $15,000. It just stands out that that's a lot of money to rent chairs that are sitting there for quite a while, but anyway, it's it does give us an overview of the stuff that the arts festival uses. But any questions or comments on 8.1?
Nope.
There. All right, 8.2, the appointment of the lottery committee members. Questions, comments on that? 8.3, appointment of members to the naming municipal facilities and roads parks committee. Questions, comments on that? Okay. 8.4, consolidation of planning authority, credit card policy and procurement policy. Do you want to give a bit of an overview on that so people know what that's about?
During the admin committee meeting, in terms of the finance, we found that when we were changing one policy, it bled into another policy. So it would be beneficial to amalgamate it all. That way we're just changing one policy, so we don't miss changing a different. That's one of the first things. The other thing that you will see is a significant increase in the signing authorities of some of the directors. So for instance, and the policy hadn't been changed for a while, but just the cost of materials and services has increased so much that on a weekly basis, Daniel's coming, for instance, Director of Infrastructure is coming to my office on a monthly basis. Some of it's regular stuff where really it's not necessary for him to get a second approval on something that is consistently done, as well as just the sheer cost of some of the materials and equipment that he's using now. So that is a big one that way. And then we added a couple of managers that weren't reflected in this, just so they have the ability, rather than having to go to their director. Of course, all of our directors and our departments plan for expenditures, so there shouldn't be any surprises when they are making those purchases. Those are really the one, it's amalgamating it, and two, just increasing some of those signing authorities.
And just for clarification, like on a credit card, when a staff member uses that to purchase something, then that gets sent to our finance department to put wherever that's gotta go. So there's a checks and balance on all of that.
Yes, so whenever we make a credit card purchase, every month we have to reconcile credit card purchases budget line. So there's a double check on that one. The reason why mine, for instance, has increased is one of the things that we are also trying to do to try to save costs is looking at our travel rewards program with the credit card company. And the more that we use the credit card, now, having said that, the credit card is paid off monthly, so it's not like we're accumulating any interest, but at least we're getting travel points. So right now, the travel points are primarily used for staff rewards, such as winning the free ticket at Christmas time to go to Edmonton, or 10-year seniority awards, again, more to support that. And if there is any left over, also to plan for each department to take a look at, is there a way of cost saving for business travel as well? So we're trying to accumulate it that way. So big tickets like our utility bills, for instance, end up over the year accumulating a lot if we pay it rather than with an invoice and a check. If we pay it with our credit card, we're still getting some good travel rewards that ways.
Any questions, comments from council on any of that? Barry or Kendall, if you've got any questions, just holler out.
Yeah, will do.
Yeah, no, I've got it. From what I understand, this is all like all these purchases that would be going on to the credit card. This is all in line with like policies and stuff that we've got approval for and all that stuff, correct?
That is correct, and that is, as I said, the directors lay out their financial plan for the year as well, so they also have their own accounting that they do to ensure that we aren't going over in terms of the spending.
Okay, no, that sounds good to me.
Moving along, 8.5, request for council decision, a height variance request for the new office building at 100 Mackenzie. We've got Peter Schultz on the line to give us just an overview of what that request is about, what it means. Peter?
Yes, sir, your worship. This is the second time this particular project has come to council for request for decision. The last one was in September for a side yard setback variance. Most of the last 6 months, the town and the municipality and the proponent have been negotiating a utilidor agreement. They have come to an agreement. Don't ask me for the details. All I needed to know is that the town and the developer are in agreement on the utilidor. They revised some of the building sketches as well. I'm not actually sure whether this height need is coming from before or it's new, but either way we caught it, and the maximum permitted height in this particular zone is 13.0 meters. Zoning bylaw gives the development officer, who is myself, a 10% right, a right to give a 10% variance without council approval, which would bring it up to 14.3, but this building is at 15.5. So I have to, council needs to decide whether they're comfortable with this height variance. This would make the new building equal in height or very slightly shorter than the existing building. My recommendation is to approve the height variance. While this is going on, the proponent is getting external and independent safety audit completed, which will complete this variance plus their audit will complete all of the necessary conditions to issue the final notifications and actually get this project being built. So it's pretty exciting that way. I don't, because it's basically building two buildings that are the same, with the two heights being very, very close. I don't have any, I'm not aware of any reason to believe that this variance request should not be permitted by council.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Questions, comments from council? Well, good. And Peter, that construction this summer, still being planned for this summer?
I am not able to answer. I have to defer that question to someone else.
I could probably answer that. As you will see, the utilidor is already work being done on that to make room for the new utilidor coming through. The same contractor that is doing that utilidor is also the one that's going to be doing the pilings for the building. So it's going to be a coordinated effort, utilidor first, and then they're going to move into the pilings for the building. So
Okay,
at least the preliminary work is being done.
yeah, great. Okay, no further questions on 8.5. We'll keep moving. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
8.6, request for council decision, tender of the award for the solid waste collection. Questions, comments? Deputy Mayor Barrett.
So just in the financial implications, it talks about the commercial pickup cost increasing to 34 cents. The bid is talking about that being the same cost for extra pickup, so just wasn't quite sure. This doesn't, the haul bin pickup is 24.49. Is commercial pickup considered extra pickup?
That's actually what they're referring to in the bid is the extra pickups for the commercial properties. So some it's 5 days a week that they're doing it, and others, so that is the additional pickups that they're doing.
They follow up, so there's a standard rate for the commercial operator, and then this is they call them for extra pickup if their bins are full before the regular pickup time. So I just trying to make sure I understand the language.
So generally, everybody gets one pickup a week, and then the extra pickups for the commercial people, that is what we mean by the extra pickups.
So that only the extra pickups have increased in cost, not the regular pickups, from what I read here.
Sorry,
Just
I'm
talk about
looking
adjustments
for
to the fees.
clarification.
I think it's an increase on all of them, but Daniel's got the information. Daniel?
Yes, trying to pull it up, but yeah, so the general contract itself has increased. Total contract value for the contract itself has increased, but the extra pickup has also increased by sure sense. So the previous contract, for instance, the extra pickup, we're getting charged $28 for every extra pickup, but now he's charging us $34 for extra pickup come January 2026. And same with so the actual contract has all the boobies in town getting picked up once a week. But anything on top of that is going to be charged at an extra charge.
Sorry, just to be clear, so our regular pickup rate is unchanged from the last contract?
No, that has also changed.
That has also changed.
So his monthly,
It's listed in here as 24.49 in the bid. for a regular all bin.
Yeah, that's the unit prices he put in there, yes,
And that's increased from the last,
from the last contract as well,
so
yeah.
that's where the adjustment to the fees for pickups for residential users as well.
This is the total increase is from his previous contract is for $2,000, 762.
Okay, so therefore, one of the comments in here is we're gonna have to adjust our fees.
Fees and
That'll
policy.
include for residential pickup, I'm assuming then.
No, that's mainly for the fees and policies, what you have in the fees and policies, which was what we did the last council meeting, I think it was. We didn't have that in our fees and policies. So we just put that in, and which is for the extra pickup and the rental of the blue bins. So those costs will be increasing as of January 2026 because we're having the new contract. So at some point in November, for instance, we'll come back to council with what those increases will look like in the fees and policies, fees and charges policy.
And that'll be for all fees, including, say, residential users on their monthly utility bills. We'll see a small increase.
Potentially, yes.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to understand that.
Any further questions, comments from council? That contract? Okay. Thank you, Daniel. 8.7, tender award for Children's First building renovations. Questions, comments from council? Deputy Mayor Barrett.
Sorry, just a quick one, just noting that the total of the town allocation and the GTC allocation is a little bit over what the bid price is that just a bit of cushion for any potential cost overruns? Or are we potentially decreasing our contribution since we have extra money from GTC
Good question.
over and above?
Daniel?
No, so we did have a consultant on board that helped with putting the tender documents together. There was a kitchen consultant, there was the architects that originally designed the building were also involved, so all of their fees came up to about close to 30,000. So what we have left is about 70. So 70 plus what GTC is giving us makes up the total amount of the contract for the construction contract.
Okay, great, thanks for clarifying.
Any further questions, comments on that? Eight. For council exemption request for taxi permit. Who wants to explain what this is about? Brian?
All right.
Yours.
So we have a taxi driver who previously sold his permit. He left Inuvik for health reasons to receive more complex medical treatment in the south. Upon resolution of this, it resolved itself a lot bit faster than he thought it would. And he realized that he could come back up to Inuvik to continue to work. He went through the process. He has a vehicle available that meets our safety standards. He just needs to get a permit. There's a permit available for sale from car 18. But he needs to be able to receive exemption in order to proceed with this. There is a policy in place under the bylaw that states that if somebody sells the permit, they cannot have another permit for 5 years. From our understanding, this was put into place to avoid people reselling permits. The town receives $5,000 for every transfer of permit. We're doing a bit of an inquiry right now just to determine what the state of the permits are, because we believe that there's not necessarily any market makers in town for permits. And there are multiple permit holders that want to sell and facilitate and where we'll get transfer fees for them, but there's no buyers for them as well. So this is basically alleviating that problem that's already been encountered. And we're hoping to do more work to facilitate further transfers and derive more revenue through these as well, and keep current taxi drivers driving throughout town and provide services.
So to clarify, this exemption is just to allow him, instead of having to wait for 5 years to buy a permit?
Yes,
So how long has he been away?
since November 2024, so it hasn't been that long. He thought he'd be leaving permanently, and as matters turn out, he is not. So he's coming back, and he wants to go to Irvine. So in terms of the overall, from our understanding for council's intention when they originally set this up, it was to avoid that brokerage type activity that would be happening. But for this case, he just wants to use it to earn a living. So
Questions, comments from council? Councilor Raymond.
Do we have any backing this up for the health situation?
We have, yeah, we have letters, like we have an email from him. We know that when he originally sold the permit to somebody else, that's what the intention was with this. That he was going down for medical treatment. We didn't expect to have him back. We thought he'd be off the rolls completely, so.
This would be, if you don't mind, this would be a one-off, right? This isn't change in policy or anything. This would just be one-time exemption, right?
Exactly. This is just for this specific scenario, no others. If we do anything else, it'd be to revisit this, but I don't think there's necessarily a policy change that's required overall because these probably should be visited by council in general.
All right, okay.
Any further questions, comments from council?
I've got a quick question just on the policy. I mean, you said was there a problem in the past, or do we have a history about, like, I mean, the taxis buying and selling their permits, and I'm just not following why that was an issue.
And again, it's tough to get my head in terms of what council would think at the time that we originally created this policy. There's, to my knowledge, there hasn't been any issues around this. I'm not aware of anything. So the big one that we would be concerned about is there's another clause within that doesn't allow somebody to get another permit if it's been 10 years, if they've actually had a permit revoked for safety violations or other things like that. And that's where we'd have bigger concerns, but something like that. But in this particular situation, no, not in this case. We support it.
Other comments, questions? Thank you, Brian. Take the mic off here. There's no bylaws and no departmental updates. Good. Information items. Item 11.1, Cindy, do you want to give an overview of that?
Other than an update that it is going to be coming next council meeting for your review. And from there, it will be a public consultation, and then it'll be going to the minister. So hopefully by the end of this summer, we will have a new community plan as well as a new zoning bylaw.
Okay, just for clarification, do we pass first reading before it goes out to community consultation? Dan is nodding yes.
So we do first reading, and then after first reading, we hold a public hearing, and then after the public hearing, we tentatively do second reading if there wasn't a lot of feedback.
But we can also do other consultation with the community on the plan after the first reading, right?
But we don't even have to wait for the first reading, but correct.
Well, just, I guess, procedure wise, if we wait for the first reading, that basically states that town council is happy enough with the plan as it is to put it out there. So we've reviewed it enough to know, yeah, we're happy with pretty much everything that's in the plan. They put it out there, you get comments back. The plan is adjusted if it needs to be, and then it comes back to council for second reading, and then
it goes to.
then it goes to the minister. Okay, everyone okay with that procedure? Yeah, it's an important plan because it kind of sets out, well, important plan and bylaw, because it basically sets out how we would allow development in the community over the next 8 years. Got kind of an 8-year cycle for review. Okay, so when you get that, sure to take a look at it closely. Okay. Item number 12, council concerns. I have a question. Councilor Gillis.
I was just wondering if the speed traps there are ever gonna work. Just out of curiosity.
What speed traps were?
Are there speed things that we have?
The radar signs on.
Ever on the top,
but
They they're not working.
Franklin doesn't work, and Inuit doesn't work.
Oh, it's pretty
Well,
good.
does the sign work?
Tells you your speed.
Right, no, I thought you
We don't
were,
drive around.
I don't speed.
It even shows,
It shows when you don't speed either.
Municipal enforcement will look into it. It might just be an electrical thing to get them.
Carries.
Any other council concerns, questions? Okay. We do have, actually a couple of in-camera items. If we can get a motion to move in camera, moved by Councilor Merrill, seconded by Councilor Wayman.